It looked like Tony Ricciardello was there. If he holds on to that position, he may well have the lead here. The West Aussie racing with so much speed. It is
the curve of no, he's hit the wall.
See that he blasts straight around the outside of the Audis.
This is exactly what we saw Caruso do yesterday, but it's got away from Ricciardello.
Get everybody around here, Sports Sedan TV, episode 3 of the podcast / YouTube podcasty thing. So just going to try and bring you regular updates as I can on what's happening in Sports Sedans, because there's not a lot of information online, I suppose. This year I am at the moment just doing socials for New South Wales. Still talking to nationals, and Victorian Sports Sedans handle that themselves. But I'm in contact with Victoria, Queensland, a little bit with WA, not so much of South Australia. I would love to get some more information from them. But we'll have a look and see what they've got up on their page. So going to keep this kind of like relaxed and light. Hopefully give you guys some information and see what's happening with Sports Sedans. I should say I'm very, very biased towards Sports Sedans. And that can come across a little bit maybe rude or something like that. I understand that, but just passionate about Sports Sedans, love them. I think they're the coolest cars in Australia. I think they're one of the coolest categories in the world, and very undervalued. And considering usually these teams run these cars by themselves, it's pretty amazing how well they do. So I think what we'll look at first is what's happening this weekend. So Victorian Sports Sedans are running, and also the combined sedans. Now we'll start with the combined sedans. I'm a little bit iffy on this because it's not Sports Sedans. It's basically like a TT category that runs at Bathurst. And I don't know, it can kind of show things for what they are, which will bring us on to another thing we're going to talk about, and that is Brad Sheriff's Skyline, which is not running this year. So they have a pretty good field. It's run by Steve Lacey and sponsored by Duggan Family Hotels. So Mark Duggan races the VB Aston Martin. Super cool car, really nice bloke, really nice family. I've done work for them and have spent time drinking beer with them. And down-to-earth Aussie crew. So super cool that they're supporting this race meeting. There's a fair few Sports Sedans running, so I'm just going to look over here. I've got my, I'll bring it over here. We'll have a look and see who's running from Sports Sedans. So I suppose the first one to notice is Jeffrey Taunton is running in one of the new Mark Sports Sedans. So these are a car built basically to order. You put your deposit down or whatever. I don't know the full details, but you order it and you get a legal 3D Sports Sedan. They run a 6-litre LS. I think they're around about $350,000. I'd have to double check on that, but they're sort of in that sort of price range. And I suppose for someone that has a bit of coin that would like to get into Sports Sedans and not take 5-10 years to build a car, they're a great option. Based off a Mustang body, obviously Sports Sedan must be a body that is a production car, so a Mustang is. So there's a couple of those running. Steve Lacey is also running one this weekend. He usually runs the yellow Camaro, but that car has been retired. It's up for sale. So he's now got this new car. I don't know if he's bought it or leased it, whatever. It's super cool. Like I said in one of the early episodes, that I'm going to have a chat to him about it and sort of see what it's like to run that car. It's super cool. So there's a couple of those running. We've got Hugh McAllister, who's running in one of those, it's like a Thai TA2 car, different to the TA2 cars we have here, Mustang, and it's running a 6-litre LS. No, it's not. It's running, I think it's actually running a Coyote motor in it. I did chat to him at SMP last year. So that car, the body is different from my understanding. Suspension's different. It is one of the TA2 style cars, much like another car that's running, which is the AMG Mercedes TA2 with a 6-litre in as well. So that's run by John Ford. That's the gold one. So there's a couple of those. So they're a good option as well. So again, not an Australian TA2 or American TA2 chassis. It's like a tie or something like that. It's a different series, so they're slightly different, and they've been able to work out that they can comply to Sport Sedan regs, unlike a TA2 car, which cannot, because that's 6.2 litres and the bodies supposedly are not accurate enough to be considered a true silhouette. Who else is that's running a space frame? We've got Gavin Taylor, who's running the VS Commodore, a super cool, I would say an old school sports sedan. So that'll be super great to see. Gav's done a few events up in Queensland. He's been testing the car, getting up to speed with it, and I know he's very excited to be running at Bathurst. Obviously, Mark Duggan is running the VB Aston Martin. He has a new team behind him this year. Just trying to find out some more details, but some of the old crew are still there. They've also got a new group helping run that car. Then we have some more Mark cars. So there's there's Tony Groves, who's Victorian Sports Sedan champion, not last year, but I think the 2 years before that. He's won that. He's taken a bit of a time off. I know he's been traveling and enjoying life, but he's gone up to the mountains, so that should be pretty good. He's a pretty good steerer. Doesn't mess around. So Tony Groves will be up there. It's one of the Mark 1 cars, which can be quite easily turned into a sports sedan, just with some minor changes. We've also got Nick Mantikos, who's running one of the Mark 2 Mustangs. These cars originally were not built for sports sedans, but once you disable the ABS and I think cover up some holes, you can run them. So he's running as well, so that will be good to see. Stewie Eustace, Disco Stew, who has a few cars down here in Victoria. He has one of the Nissan Altimas, and he also has a pretty cool Commodore, which is getting one of those Nissan V8s put in it as well. So he'll be running his Mark 1 Mazda 3 also. Scotty Cameron will be up. He's running in the VS Commodore, sponsored by Duggan Family Hotels and also Roderick Constructions. Don't know who they are, but hello, good work, guys. So they'll be running that. They had problems last year with engines. Ended up actually borrowing an engine from John Goulet for the final 2 rounds. I think it was from memory, or or maybe the final round. Anyway, Dave Scott's dad has built a couple of new motors, so they're all set, rejuvenated, and they launched their car last weekend along with the Aston. So it's good to see them bringing some attention to the category and trying to approach it professionally. So that's super cool. We've also got Josh Pickett. So Josh Pickett is one of the South Australian boys. He's got a Monaro that actually came from, I think, speedway racing or something like that, some sort of dirt racing. So it'd be great to see how he goes. I know he's been wanting to run with some of the higher up cars, so it'll be good for him to gauge that against, say, the Mark cars, because they're usually, well, obviously a Mark car won at Gold Coast, so those new Mark sports sedans are pretty serious bits of kit. So it'd be good to see him go against them. Paul Bochette in the red Corvette. So it's a TA1 Corvette with a Dodge. Yes, one of my boys. So Paul's a good steerer, but doesn't seem to have much luck. He damaged a gearbox at SMP last year, and then at Bathurst just didn't have a good run either. But the guy can steer. He sometimes plays around in Super 3. I think that's right. And he's got an ex-supercar. So it'd be good to see how he goes. So there's those boys, and then there's a bunch of other people running, but I'm not sure who are sports sedans or not. So we won't go too far into that. I know Mark Tracy's running his BMW. That'll be good to see. He's quite well known in the TT circles. Angus Fogg obviously ran some 3 national rounds last year in that Mustang. So he's bloody quick. He'll be doing 300 plus kilometers an hour down the straight. So it should be pretty interesting to see how he goes. And obviously, shout out to Anthony Sane as well, who's running in a Chev RX-7 floor pan sports sedan. So that car's pretty basic compared to the high-end, say, Mark cars. We're talking about Mark cars a lot, aren't we? It's like an advertisement for them, isn't it? But it's not. I think it's cool. I think it's another option to getting into sports sedans. But anyway, it'd be good to see him. So yeah, good luck to everybody that's running. If I haven't mentioned you, I do apologise. But you can obviously hop on the entry list for on Facebook for the combined sedans, Duggan Family Hotels. See if someone is running and you can cheer for them. Now, I did have a look on their Facebook, and it says that if you can't make it to the mountain, that the races 1 and 2 will be on the Bathurst 12-hour website and on their social media, while race 3 will be on Foxtel KO and possibly on one of the Channel 7 Pluses or 7 Mates or whatnot. So, again, you can get over to the Duggan Family Hotels Bathurst 12-hour Combined Sedans 2024 page. So that has all your information, and it has a bit more of a comprehensive list. So the next thing I wanted to touch on before we move to Victoria is about the Brad Sheriff car, because that caused a lot of drama at the Combined Sedans last year. Now, there is talk that it was banned. It wasn't banned, okay? Now, I'm going to go over a bunch of different things on why it wasn't banned. You're probably going to, well, it can't run exactly how it was, so it must be banned, blah, 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 fucking whatever. But it wasn't. So basically, there was a breakout time. So you couldn't do under, I believe, a 209. And Brad did break that on one lap. Spoke to Brad. He didn't mean to. He was trying to keep it under. And he didn't break it by very much, from what I understand. So to give some sort of understanding of that, so just say he did a high 208, I think he did, or something like that, or whatever he did it. I've got down here he did a 209.17, but I'm not sure if there's another time that he did that was a little bit quicker that's not listed. But Jordan, when the Nationals went there, did a 202.54, so substantially faster than Brad's Skyline. Now, this is not a go at Brad's car or anything like that, but why would you ban a car that is, like, what's that, 7 seconds slower over a lap when a front-running national car does a 202? And talking to Jordan, they'll go faster. They believe they'll get under 2 minutes at some point, but obviously it's getting a clean lap, having the tyres in the right window, having the right conditions. Sports sedans are fairly fickle creatures on the edge. Jordan also had, they didn't quite get the gear ratio set up properly. They also had the spare motor in, which was down on power. So keep that in mind. Jordan, they will go faster. So Brad did a 209.17, maybe a little bit quicker at one point. So basically, without going too far into it, we have rules on our tracks with power to weight ratio that hasn't sort of been that enforced. But anyway, Motorsport Australia noticed that sports sedans were getting quicker and quicker and quicker, because we are. Not crazy amount, but we're slowly ticking away at it. And to try and get ahead of it, they've decided to, through lots of negotiation between Motorsport Australia and sports sedans, we've come back to a 1.5 to 1 rule, which I touched on in the preview in episode 1, if you want to have a look at that. Now, speaking to Brad, his car was pretty much running at 1.5 to 1. So his car wasn't really it wasn't legal. It was legal, I should say, at the time. We didn't have that power to weight ratio. The only thing he did wrong was break out that 209. He went too fast. So that's the only thing. Brad's car, he decided, with the rules changing and be going to 1.5 to 1, boost limits and things like that, whether you agree with them or not, that's what's happened, and it's in the regs now. You can have a look at the 3D regs, the 2024 ones. Brad decided to basically park the car up. He fixed it up. He had a little bit of a bingle at the mountain, and built a new car to the regs, lighter, more suited to the job. This car started off as a time attack car, became a sports sedan, dominated in Tasmania, and after running that Bathurst combined thing, he decided that it was time to build a car for the job. So he has a new R34, same sort of package in it, lighter, running to 1.5 to 1, running to the boost limit, everything like that. So my understanding is he couldn't go this year for whatever reason. I don't want to get too much into that, but he couldn't. And he wants to do the National Series. So I think it's going to be super good to see that. But just to be clear, he was not banned. The car was not banned. It's not four-wheel drive, by the way. It's two-wheel drive. It's a very, very extensively and high-end car. It's not a car you buy off marketplace. This car's serious. It's got a serious motor. He builds them. He knows what he's doing. He claims it's just for going to the milk bar, but it's not. It's a serious car. So anyway, not banned. He's not running this year, but it should be still good fun to watch. So check it all out. So next up we have the Victorian Sports Sedans. They're running this weekend at Sandown for round 1 of the Victorian State Race Series. They're saying 19 entries, but we counted 22. Had a bit of a discussion with the old man this morning. So we're unsure. We're going to have let's go 20. We're going to have about 20 cars entered, so that's a fantastic thing. Now, this weekend, usually opening round, we've been running with Vic V8s, but Vic V8s have a big field of like 20-odd cars, and so do we, so they didn't put us together. I should say I think Vic V8 should just be sports sedans, but that's probably for another podcast. All these bloody classes that look the same, that basically are the same and should run together. Anyway, it'll be on Blendline TV. I think we do have some times. So on Friday we have open practice, so there'll be 3 or 4 sessions on Friday, but Saturday qualifying is at 9:35 a.m, race 1 at 1:45 p.m, and then on the Sunday the 17th of February, race 2 is at 9:35 a.m, and race 3 at 1:35 p.m. So I do believe definitely the races, maybe qualifying, but definitely the races will be on Blendline TV, on Facebook and on YouTube. Don't click on any of the links in the comments, because usually it's people trying to scam us. Blendline have a YouTube channel and a proper Facebook page. Watch it on there. Some cool cars are running. The first one I noticed is Travis Condon, who ran in the Nationals last year in that little green Corolla with the big Chev in it. Big personality. Great to see him in State Series. I think that he'll be far more competitive in the State Series. He just wanted to do Bathurst and Gold Coast and some big events with the Nationals. So last year, so that was super cool. Big Dean Cam's running the Corvette again. Darden Brown in the Gallant. We've got Paul Connell, who comes across from the TT world in the RX-7. Jeremy Davidson. I think he's in the black RX-7 with the Cosworth motor, but we'll double check on that. I'll try and have a chat to some people this weekend. Brett Dickey's back, who's been doing a lot of Time Attack in America and also Pikes Peak in the Prelude, turbocharged Prelude. Got a few Commodores running, Graham Gillam in RX-7. Bruce Henley's back in the RX-8. That's fantastic. So we haven't seen him for a fair while now. The series champion Francois Habib is still in his Commodore, his Dodo Commodore. I really want to see him out in his Ford Sports Sedan. I'm not really a big fan of Commodore supercars. It's not really my jam. So I know he's working very hard on getting the ex-Bob Gill blue Falcon Sports Sedan done. They've done a lot of suspension work, body work, cars sitting down nice, looks really tough. I've got my old man Ron McClurkin in a 300ZX. He's had a lot of fuel issues with that, but he'll be running. Benny McLeod, who's been doing quite well in that red Commodore. I know he's building a new car as well to run. Vin Stenter's in the Barra Mustang. That should be super cool to see. He's been working hard in the off-season to try and get over some issues they've had with boost and different things with the car. Chaz is back in the Camaro, so it'll be great to see him back out running. Kevin Stoopman in the Evo 7, so he's got a couple of really quick Evo 7s. I think he's sold one, but this one, when it goes, it's a bloody weapon. I did pass it on Sandown Straight when it was on fire, and it was like I was going into the mist. Horror story. Thankfully, he was okay and the car wasn't too damaged. There was a lot more smoke than fire. So that's this weekend at Sandown, so that should be good to see. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the Supercars Super License points table. So to race in Supercars, you need to have X amount of points on your license and a bunch of other things to be able to do that. Now, there's lots of categories on here, but I wanted to talk about Supercars and sports sedans. Now, I'm trying not to rag on Supercars. I don't want to be like that, but this makes no fucking sense. I don't get it. A Gen 3 supercar weighs, what does it say? It says, I'm looking online, 1335 kilograms, and they have 600 horsepower, somewhere around. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit higher, a little bit lower. But anyway, sports sedans weigh like under 1200 kilograms and have, I don't know, what do they have? 750 horsepower. So they're lighter and more powerful. We are allowed to run traction control. We don't run any ABS. And obviously we have aero as well, more aero than a supercar does. So to me, a sports sedan is going to be more work to race. It's faster, it's more powerful, it's lighter, It's got more aero. I don't know. To me, it seems like you would think if you can drive a sports sedan, you can definitely bloody drive a supercar. Now, obviously, supercar drivers, for the most part, are professional race drivers and are fantastic drivers and are on another level. Not all sports sedan drivers are like that. Totally get that. And to be honest, for 99% of sports sedan people, this super licensing means nothing. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't really give a shit. I'm not racing supercars. Don't have the money, don't have the talent. I'm old. Most of us are like that. But for someone, say, like Jordan Caruso, who may want to go down that road, he's talented enough. He's certainly still young enough. He's pretty young. He could definitely go down that road. And maybe there's some other guys, that young kids of people with lots of money who are in sports sedans now who may want to go down that road. And with the way that it's set up, it's just not going to happen. So for sports sedans, a sports sedan, to win, when you win, you get 5 points. Now, where if you win in Super 2, you get 15, Super 3, 12, Porsche Cup 12, TCR Australia 10, more Porsche stuff, GT 8, Trans Am Series 7. Let's use Trans Am. So they get 7. It's only a couple more than we do. So I don't know. It seems like this is based on like how much money someone's paying. It doesn't. I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be any logic to this. Why you would say that a more powerful, lighter, faster car, someone that can control that and handle that, isn't ready to drive a supercar. It just feels ridiculous to me. I would love to get some feedback in here technically why. If you look at the driver standards in Super 2 and Super 3, it's pretty fucking bad. If you look at the driving standards in the Porsche series, it's pretty fucking bad. There's a lot of crashes. I don't see sports sedan being worse than that, do you? I think for the most part, the driving standards are better. I understand there's probably more professional and high-end drivers in Super 2, Super 3 and Porsche. And obviously Trans Am 2 is becoming more like that with some pretty high-end drivers as well. So I think that it's something that needs to be looked at. Maybe it doesn't matter because it's only going to affect the random person. But I'd like to get your feedback on what you think of this point system. It just seems like a bloody joke to me. It doesn't seem like it's, should I say fair? That sounds like I'm being a sook. Nothing's fair, is it? So, super license, not cool. Not cool, guys. I think you fucked it up. So what's happening in the future? What have we got coming up this year? So I suppose after this weekend, the next big thing really is round 1 at Simmons Plains for the Nationals. Now, what I'm hearing is we've got 12 mainland entrants going across on the boat and 7 locals. So Brad's running in the Blue Skyline. That's 95% confirmed. Also got Ben Patel, who's got this really awesome 180SX with a 2J in it. Very serious car. I do believe it's got Hollinger, the big brakes, all the good shit. Tim Mann, obviously, who won the Tasmanian Series last year, the Tasmanian Sports Sedan Series, is waiting on his engine to be finished. He should be a good mid-runner. Steve Gangal is running in a VL Commodore. I do know that car. I think it was in Queensland for a while. So Simmons Plains should be a really interesting one with the Nationals heading over. We should get to see... I am hearing that Tony Ricciardello and Jordan Caruso will be in the John Goulet Audi. I have not heard if young Steve Tomasi is running. I'm not sure of that. I know that Mark Duggan is, Scotty Cameron is, I believe Ashley Jarvis is in the Monaro. So there should be some fairly solid regular national competitors going over, competing against, what some people are saying is the future, which is turbocharged cars in Tassie. And for some reason, Tassie is this little melting pot that has decided that sticking hairdryers on things is a good idea, and I fully embrace that and get behind it. I am a fan of the turbo. I'm a fan of all of it. It's all bloody cool to me. I'd stick a V6 turbo in my Calibra tomorrow if I could. But do also love the Dodge because it's got red rocker covers, which means it's from hell, so that's great. So Simmons Plains, I know some people are like, oh, it's too far away. Why are you going there? Blah, blah, blah. We were meant to go there last year, but a bunch of things happened and we missed a deadline of being able to get the cars over. Some people are calling bullshit on that, but yeah, it's not. It didn't happen for a bunch of reasons. So it's super good that we're getting over this year. I think it's what Tassie deserves. They deserve to have the Nationals come over. Haven't been over there for a long time. And then from there, we go to South Australia to the Bend. So that's another good one. I've heard that, again, that some of the guys that aren't running Tassie will be running the Bend. So that should be a bigger field. And then we head to Sydney Motorsport Park, which I believe is a combined round for New South Wales. Round 4 hasn't been organised yet. Well, it hasn't been organised. It's not confirmed. They're trying to work things out. So hopefully round 4 gets sorted out. And then round 5 will be Bathurst with TCR, with the Speed Series and all that sort of thing. So that'll be a big way to end the year. So Nationals, I think last year was one of the best years they've had in a long time, in my opinion. This year will be interesting to see how they go with the new regs that have come in, with the economy slowing down and people running out of money, blah, blah, blah. It's fairly expensive to run a national car, I've heard. Most people spend between 5 and 15, I would say. That'd be so 10 grand probably the average that people are spending around. So I know some people are spending more. I don't know many people that are spending less than 5. Once you factor in tyres, fuel, accommodation, travel, entries around about $1,000, $1,500 usually for nationals, which is actually substantially less than a lot of other national categories. They've been trying to keep it down, but obviously everything's becoming more expensive. For example, ELF 105 is now up to $5.50 a litre, which kills people like me. But it's the way of the world, not having to go at race fuels. Prices go up. Tyres we're going to go over to Hankook's this year. We're going from Kumho's, so haven't seen the price on them, but usually it's about $2,500 a set, approximately. So that'll be interesting to see. In other states, what's coming up? We've got South Australia, who, again, I don't hear too much about them. From them, I should say. They sort of just are rowing their own boat, which is great. Good to see the boys there, full steam ahead, trying to build up the category. They'll be joining in with, it's not a joint round, but a number of them will be running at the Bend in May, so that should be good to see. They're starting on March the 9th, so they start just before Nationals at Malala for a night meeting. And then they go do a couple of rounds at the Bend, back to Malala and the Bend. I do know that they are using different configurations of the Bend, so it won't be the same one for the 3 rounds that are there, so that should be super cool. I know they're trying to boost up the 2-litre side of things. They have been in the past a little bit more open to invited cars, trying to build up the grid. Totally understandable. Kind of, what can I say? I'm not always a fan of that, but I understand it. They've got to do it. They've got to build up the grid, and hopefully eventually it'll be just sports sedans that are running. Tassie has 1 million rounds. They have 6 rounds. They're back at Simmons Plains in late February. So that's the weekend after. That'll be the weekend of when the supercars are at Bathurst. So that weekend. And then they've got a bunch of other rounds. 2 litres start in March at Quarter Park. Quarter Park's back. Quarterback's back, baby. It's bloody good. Driven around it. I love that track. It's a little bit of it's like a bull ring. It's like a MMA friggin' octagon. It's hectic. It's cool as shit. It's really fast. Easy to smash into walls. Elsewhere, New South Wales don't sort of kick off theirs until April, and funnily enough, it's in Winton, in Victoria. But they're doing that because obviously they've been down to one racetrack. One raceway is to be confirmed at the end of the year for them, but that looks like it's coming back online, so that'll be fantastic. So there's a lot of infrastructure going in there, a lot of money being spent on Old Wakefield, now known as One Raceway, very inclusive. And then Historics. Historics is building up a lot of steam as well, and they're off to Malala in April 26, 28, so that should be super cool. I believe they've got a decent field already, so head over to their page on Facebook. Everyone's on Facebook for the most part. Nationals has a Facebook page, Victoria does, New South Wales does, 2 litres do. Tassie do have a group. South Australia have a group as well. Queensland is probably actually the only one. And I don't have the Western Australia one either. I don't know why I don't have that. Check it all out. There's lots going on. And if you want to get involved, you can message me. I can put you in contact with the correct people if you like, or otherwise try and message the club in your state directly, and they should enthusiastically help you out. Finally, I wanted to talk about some of the new cars that are coming out or being built at the moment. I actually got to see some photos of the Modena, is it a BRZ or a GT86, Toyota 86 platform. It's that body shape. Anyway, it's a full space frame car, very serious build. It's been going for a few years now, running a LS. Now, the photos I saw were on someone's phone, and they wouldn't let me take copies, and I only got short looks because it's all very hush-hush under the cover. Probably shouldn't have been talking about it, but I'm not really giving anything away. Most people know that they're building a car. I wish I had more information. From the photos, it's super high-end. They're not building it to have a run around the back and have beers at the end of the day. They're building it to try and win. So I'm assuming they would, being based in Victoria, start running some Victorian rounds and then go to nationals, but they may just go straight to nationals. So that's a car to keep an eye out for from Modena. There's a couple of Lambos being built. One in New South Wales by Steve's Toy Shop. I've heard that there is a new owner for that. Someone has purchased it, but I cannot get any more information out about it. I believe it's running a Chev in it, which is pretty common for Steve's cars. I'm assuming it'll be yellow. Good chance of it. He has lots of yellow paint, he told me. So that, look, I'm keen to see that. There is also another Lambo being built in Western Australia. I have seen pictures of the framework and the body. And the guy building it, again, doesn't want to share much information. He's tossing up between, I think, turbocharged V6 and V8. So he's been keeping an eye on the rules. Now that they're sort of more solidified, I would assume he will make his choice. I'll try and get some information. Eventually, I'll get a photo that I can show you guys. The Ferraris. So no more information on Tony Ricciardo's Ferrari. There is also another Ferrari being built in New South Wales, which I've seen pictures of the bodywork and I've heard the chassis, there's some issues with that. It's getting redesigned or something. So a couple of Ferraris would be cool. Obviously, all these cars have the engines moved to the front. They don't have the engines in the back. We can't do that. So these are space frame, fiberglass or carbon fiber bodied sports sedans. And no, sports sedans don't have to be a four-door sedan. I know some of you don't like that, but stiff shit. I think it's super cool, different body shapes. I personally don't want to just see sedans driving around. It's boring as shit. I think exotic-looking cars look good. And brings me to the last one, which has been built by Bespoke Motors in Melbourne by the Roddies. Now, this car was very close to being finished, and there was a fire, and it destroyed the body that they'd built for it. It is a Jaguar. Now, I'm just looking at the information here. It is an XKRS. It just looks like an Aston style Jaguar. I'm sure someone will tell me exactly what model it is. Now, it's running a 6-litre IMSA V12, Group C, TWR. I'm just looking at the information on their Instagram. They are on Instagram, Bespoke Motors. I know that we have to run a production-based block. They're saying the heads are different, but the block is closest to production. I am sure they've read the rules and that it will be all good because that would be super cool. At the moment, it's in carbon fibre, and they're saying it's going to stay in carbon fibre, which some people have yawned about, but personally, I think that's badass. I like the Formula Ones in carbon. They look sick. Black cars rule. What can I say? Carbon fibre is basically black. It's grey. It looks sick. So there's a bunch of other cars being built as well, but they're ones that I've noticed lately. I know that Nick Smith's building a new RX-7 with some straight 6 turbo motory thing. I won't say what type because I'm not sure if that's public knowledge yet. Who else is building cars? I know Stewie Eustace is building a Commodore. There's a bunch with a Nissan motor in it. So I think we'll wind it up for today. Crossed most things, covered most things. Still waiting on Motorsport Australia to come back with any information on the seats and fuel tank rules, which may be changing with sports sedans. You've all seen the power to weight and complained about it and argued about it online, but that's what it is. Yes, you have to do it. Yes, you have to have a limiter. Don't matter if you've got a stock ECU. Doesn't matter if it's a waste of money. It's car racing. Everything's a bloody waste of money. So, thanks for listening. Let me know what you want to know about. I will try and find out. At this point, I'm not going to Tassie for nationals, but we'll see what happens. That could change 5 minutes before the race starts. Sports Sedan TV. Check it out on Facebook. Check it out on Instagram. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit. Cheers, everybody.